Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Toni Brown, who has been creating online and offline courses for over 20 years with big businesses. And now she's bringing her expertise to partner with individuals and entrepreneurs to create courses so they can expand their businesses and ultimately their bank accounts. So let's give a warm welcome to Toni. So welcome, Toni.
Thank you.
So Toni, tell us a little bit about your background, because you've been creating courses for 20 years. And typically you kind of think of the people who are creating courses are teachers.
Well, I am a teacher in some sorts. I'm an adult education teacher. So I teach adults in corporate settings or, again, on their businesses, how to do whatever job needs to be done or whatever their expertise is or what their job needs to be done. So I do teach. And in a previous life, I taught people how on a system, and that's how I really got into training and development, is helping them navigate the system. And I used to travel from schools and government agencies to help them integrate technology into their classroom. And so that industry started to grow. And then that's when I actually went back to school and got a master's in instructional technology, which helped me learn more about how adults process information, how they are able to learn in smaller chunks versus bigger chunks, and what works best for the adult brain versus a child's brain.
Right. And that's so important to understand it, because you think about a child as that constant and curious and that the state of being versus an adult who's actually thinking about life, like just give me the facts, versus like child, like I want to know everything and then I'm going to ask you more questions.
Absolutely. So it's best to, understand that for an adult, it is for a need. They either need to do it for their job or they need it personal growth. For a kid, like you said, it's for curiosity. It's something that's kind of forced upon them and something they just have to do, or we had to do as kids ourselves.
Right. And that's so critical to understand the difference, because if you think about it, going back to school, like, all the classes you had to take, like, why do I have to take this? Is like, because we said so.
Absolutely.
Now, how many adults are going to take a class because someone said so?
Yes, especially on the online world, it is basically what they want to take and what they feel that they need for improvement. Versus, when you're in corporate or in the work setting, then it is, well, you need this to take your, to get paid. To keep this job, you have to learn how to do this and that. So it is two different industries slightly. Well, actually, it's a big difference. And that big difference is that on the online world, it is more of a want or a need that they feel themselves. It's something that they can get gratitude from making this achievement versus being forced to do it on the job.
Right, exactly. And the more people realize that, the greater it is when it comes to people creating courses. So, based on that, how did you decide that you wanted to take your expertise from the corporate world to breaking off your own? Because not everybody wants to leave the safety net of the corporate environment or the government world. You just know every week you have these set things and it's that routine. And as long as you just play in the system, you're good.
Right. My actual, my actual business model has me actually doing contract work for these big businesses. So it's not that I have definitely left them. I still contract my services out to them, but I also do my own, as far as, like I said, I'm starting the new program, Creating Your Classroom Academy. And then I have consulting on the side as well. So I have a mixture of both. But what made me decide to actually step out and start doing the consulting piece is that I needed more money. And I came from a 2-income household and I got a divorce. and I didn't want to downsize my life. So I had to come
Right.
up with a way that I could still keep the comforts of my life and not have to really go outside of the house to work because I had a young child. And I didn't really want to take on another boss or learn another skill set. So
Right.
I love what I do. I'm happy with what I do. And so I had to decide, how could I take something that I already know and love and just make more money from it? And so that was the birth of creating your Classroom Academy.
Okay. Oh, that's excellent. It makes a difference that you know that as a result, because so many people, they don't know like the outcome they want to have. They just go through the motions like, oh, I'm going to start a business, but you had a reason why. You wanted to not downsize your life or have to start working for somebody else at that point in your career.
Yes, absolutely. And I also wanted to help others because I felt that I was kind of like teeter-tottering in the online business game. So I I was like, do you remember that Target commercial years ago where the lady had her hands to the face and she had on the glass and she'd be like, open, 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 open.
No.
That is kind of how I was to the online business game. I would see it. I was kind of watching it unfold, but I wasn't sure if I really wanted to jump into it. And I didn't know if, what I could offer. But as I started seeing individuals doing more of the marketing of sales, and like you said, taking courses that were flops and very boring and missed the mark, that's when the light bulb came on and I started to identify where I was needed.
Okay. So when you started doing that market research and looking at courses out there, what were some of those things that you saw were missing in the courses that were in the market in the online world?
Well, I think that one of the things that was missing was the quality of the course content. I would go out and I would see a lot of them would focus on the sales and not necessarily the information that you're providing. So they tell you that, okay, well, you can create a course in 6 easy steps, or, I'm going to show you how to create a web page. And then when you get in, you're not really showing me how to create a web page. You've missed maybe 5 or 10 steps throughout this process.
Right.
And because they didn't know, they're so close to it, they couldn't identify that those steps were being missed. And so as a student or a learner, I identify because I can't follow you. So I don't know where to go next. And that's how you get a whole bunch of support tickets and a whole bunch of emails and calls, because people are having trouble going through your course. And so that is what I noticed as far as being a learner, and like you said, doing my marketing research, is that the courses weren't complete. The onboarding process was very difficult. Communication was lacking. So as I went through this process, these are the things that I identified and could see exactly where I could fit in.
Okay. And that's so critical. You understood that, because when you look at courses and think about how many times someone's taken a course, and then they're frustrated because it promised them the world and just everything. They're like, you're getting the most amazing package ever. It's like you're winning the lottery twice over. And you get in there, you're like, oh, that's it.
Right. Absolutely. And then not setting it's a customer service piece, and not setting the right expectations, because I can give you everything, but I can't guarantee anything, because the work is really on you. You have to do the work. And so a lot of times I think that that's where a lot of courses fail too in the beginning, because again, they promised you the moon, but they didn't set the expectations that, you're going to have to work 20 hours out of the week to get this done in 60 days.
Right. Exactly. And the other component when you look at some courses like that is that, sure, you could be able to create a product in a short period of time, but then is it going to be the quality necessary? Because if it's the first time you do something, how often is it's a work of art? Sometimes it's kind of like, I'm just going to chalk this one up to experience and put it into that never show to public pile.
Yes.
And it takes consistent effort to get it to where it's going to work.
Absolutely, it does. And that's another thing that I try to explain to people, that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And if you get out there too fast, and what I'm seeing now is a lot of people are like jumping ship on what they started off with. So the person started off with maybe branding. And now, since there's a lot of people out there branding, they're jumping ship, and now they're trying to create courses because they've created one or two courses. Well, but you're not being true to yourself and to your expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, you should just really hone in on what it is that you really, really, really want to do. And then figure that out, go through that whole process. It could be that you're the greatest branding specialist ever. You just might need to change your format.
Right.
And not necessarily the product that you're offering.
Right. Exactly. Because like you said, so many people, they want to jump on the bandwagon, the trend that's out there, instead of becoming the best at doing something. And because if you think about, to have an amazing lifestyle, sometimes people think you have to have this immensely large customer base. But if you think about it, how many customers do you really need to have a certain lifestyle? If someone,
Absolutely.
let's say you're selling a product that was $500 and you want it to make $10,000 a month, you need to sell 20 of them a month. That's it.
That's it.
But so many times you think, I have to have this huge customer base. No, you don't. You need to know your numbers to get to that result. That's it. If you had amazing conversions and you were able to convert, let's say 50% of the people you talk to, guess what? You're talking to 40 people a month. End of story.
Yes, that is it. And that's really, really it. And then also, you have to define your own comfort level. You might not need $5,000 a month. You might just need $1,000 a month to increase your comfort level, or just to make you comfortable in life. And that's kind of like my situation. Like, I enjoy going I actually work from home. But I do like that time when I go into the office. I actually like going and working for these corporations because I learn on the job more. Instead of, being here at the house and then searching on the internet. I can go in and go to one session and then learn a lot on there. So it's a win-win for me to actually go and have these contracts with these larger companies. But it also helps me with finances. So I know that I'm going to get this check every 2 weeks. My insurance is paid for. So some of those little things that you'd have to do as an entrepreneur, 100% entrepreneur, I am handling with this by working with this company. And so that helps me, balance out and really get to perfect my product, because I can start off at a low cost point. And then grow my product and, the offerings with it. So maybe to eventually getting to the point where it can stand alone, and that's all that I have to do. Right.
And you mentioned something there, which is important for a lot of entrepreneurs, that think they have to just day one, cut all the cords and dive in 100%. Now, granted, depending on someone's situation, they might have to do that regardless.
Correct.
But if you already have that stable job, you have a family support, the likelihood of you wanting to just cut that off completely day one and just jump in, you're probably not the best idea. But if you have that support system in place where now your needs are being met, it relieves some of the pressure. So now you can get things done and make sure it's done right, versus you're just being frantic because you realize you need to have a mortgage payment and you need to do something known as like eat.
Yes. Instead, sometimes that works for people.
Right.
They produce a product, they sell it, and it may even sell really, really well. And that works for some people, but it doesn't work for others. And I want the others to know that you don't have to quit your job. And that's why my main audience are, working women who just want a little bit more money for comfort.
Right.
And if it grows into anything bigger than that, great. By all means, we're not trying to limit the amount of sales. I just want you to know that you can do it too. And so that's what my program helps, make that the simplest process possible.
Right. And that's important to understand that. It's making what you want to make out of something, that sometimes there's this pressure or this trend out there. The only way to live life according to your terms, it's you have to work for yourself. But I like to use different examples where some instances you're going to work for a company because it's what you want to do. If you wanted to, let's say, work on rocket engines, you're probably going to work for a company.
Right.
Because you're not going to see very many people in the backyard. Yep, I'm building a rocket engine. What for? Don't know. But you're not going to see that very often. Or if you're wanting to be an engineer of some sort, and you want to develop things, or let's say you want to design video games, you're going to work for one of the big game publishers most likely. So there's many instances where you're going to work for a company because you're going to follow your passion and do what you want to do because that's the environment that provides it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things and then you learn more too. I mean, you can learn online, but you have to search and you have to go through a lot to find the really, really good products out there. And by going into the office and just working with someone and having someone to collaborate with on what you do. Again, if this is what you want to use as your own business, your own expertise, you want to transfer that into, a course or your business, then, staying at that job and grabbing those check sheets and those checklists and those onboarding documents, all those things that you take for granted because you use them every day. That's where you can kind of start getting ideas of how you want your business to look, the look and feel of it there, and how you customize it to your audience. So, don't knock the 9-to-5 people. A lot of people are, but don't knock it. It can actually benefit you in your process. It may take you longer to get your business started, but it's okay when all your needs are being supplied by your full-time, your 9-to-5, and that will help you be motivated to get your business up and running.
Right, definitely. So when you're helping people begin to create a course, what is something that you tell them that they absolutely need to start off with?
They need a solid foundation, period, paragraph. If they know, they have to identify who their learners are, what their topic is, the objective for their learner, and for the course, and then, the goal and the purpose. And so by knowing that, and I call that the gift. Once you identify your gift, goal, ideal learner, the focus of your training, which is your objectives and your topics. And that's where my program starts off with, helping you identify those. Because once you have your gift or your foundation for your course, then that leads the way to your course. You can always circle back to your gift and say, okay, I want to make sure that I'm addressing single females between the ages of 21 and 31. So the language that you're speaking needs to address them. When you're asking questions, when you're talking about social media, because we know that most of them aren't on Facebook. So for you to create a course and say, we're going to use Facebook as our means of communication, our Facebook groups, they're going to be like, Facebook? Because that's not the software, social media that they normally use. Mm-hmm. So it's about knowing your customer, knowing what their need is, and then providing that need. Because that's what a course is. A course is solving a problem.
Right.
So once you clearly define what that problem is and who's going to be sitting in those seats, and you do all that in the gift, you're well on your way.
Right. And that's really important to know the starting point with what you want to achieve, because there's courses out there that don't clearly define it. It's more ambiguous. Like, you're going to learn this general stuff in this area. Like, can you be specific with the outcomes? Yes, absolutely. And it's just vital to understand those. Oh, no, keep going.
No, so that's one of the things that that I definitely focus on is identifying your outcomes and being very specific. And that's one of the hardest things I think it is for course creators to do, is to really be specific. And most of my clients, I have them create their objectives, and then they come to me and I say, I can use those objectives with creating a course. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it doesn't tell me specifically. And I was like, we're doing two totally different things. I'm teaching you how to create a course and you are doing a leadership program. But I can take those exact objectives that you wrote and place them right on my sales page. I was like, because they're so generic. You need to be specific in what you're going to provide them.
Right.
So they know.
Specificity matters.
It does. It does.
Because you look at the amount of time people are not specific enough, and then they're not getting the results they're looking for. And it goes back down to just that one thing. Yes,
it does. And I try to tell people all the time, have you ever been, on the job, you went to a workshop and they're telling you that you're going to learn how to, access Skype, and I have a list of these bullets that they're going to do. And then you're going down and you're like, well, he didn't show us how to do the chat. They didn't tell us how to change our location and let people know where we are, because they didn't necessarily, they had these bullets down, but the person got off on a tangent and just did an overview, but didn't necessarily tell us specifically how to do it. They just showed us where it was.
Right. Exactly.
So we think that we're coming in here to actually learn the steps on how we're doing it, but it was really like a show and tell. And so having that misleading in your introduction or in your course description really hurts your sales and hurts the completion ratio of your course.
Right. Now, when it comes to completion ratio, of course, making sure that people are doing what's necessary, what are some of those things that are beneficial to make sure people do the work?
Some of the things that are beneficial are making sure that there are small lessons. Our attention span now is very, very short. Everyone knows this. And so it's very important that you keep your content or your courses in small chunks. And it also depends on who your audience is. If your audience consists of young teens, then yes, very, very short learning sessions. If it is a stay-at-home mom, they can be a little bit longer, but not too long, maybe like 20 minutes, because they can't really sit for 20 minutes because they really do have a lot of stuff to do, especially if they have an infant or a toddler child. So it's important to know who your audience is and how do you chunk the information for them. So for my instance, I'm doing short videos. My videos are very short. They're for the working woman so that you can get it done on your lunch break. That's really the plan. You can finish this session and the information that I'm asking you to do, the steps, on your lunch break. And you may be able to do 2 or 3. But because I know that's my audience, that's why I'm trying to keep them very small, each lesson. And also by having those small lessons, it helps them with confidence because they're saying, oh, okay, well, I finished this one already. It's a sense of accomplishment as they finish and check off, the module or the lesson that they've created. So by having those small ones and having the action steps or items that they can complete really quickly helps increase the ratio for completion.
Okay. And, those are vital because if you don't have people completing it and also just having that sense of accomplishment, you think of how quickly people can get, just end up stopping where they're at.
Yes, because they're overwhelmed and they just are not quite, getting the content. And it's, at least if it's in a small chunk, they can address it at that moment and go back and see where they may have missed it. If it's like a 20 or 30 minute course, maybe even longer, they're not going to be able to go back and go through each minute or second of the course to really figure out where they got lost.
Right. And that's important. But it goes back down to knowing your audience as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So now, what's the best, when you're looking at putting these things together, the best type of format for people delivering their course?
It depends again on the audience. A lot of people like ebooks. I hear that that's really, really big, doing the ebooks. And a lot of people do video. Video is really, really big now. Mm-hmm. So creating video, if you can, it also relies on the type of content that you're delivering. Mm-hmm. So if you can do video, but you can do a video as far as a screen capture, or you can do it as a PowerPoint presentation, like a webinar, and package that up. And, you can either put it on Vimeo or YouTube, or you can even drop it in Dropbox and link to it from there. So it varies, but video is really big right now, and the ebooks are really big right now.
Okay.
But you can also, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but you can also do it for, face to face. If you're doing something in the community, or you want to create a lesson for your church, say you're a financial advisor and you want to start creating courses for your church members. So, it doesn't have to be online. It can be something face to face that you can deliver at church, at your child's school, if they're interested in doing financial planning or financial awareness for the parents in the school. So It's not just face to face. It can be, it's not just online. My process assists you. It doesn't matter if it's online or offline.
Okay. And that's important for people to know, that you don't always have to deliver a course one way. If you have people that want to come together in a small group setting someplace, why not do it in person?
Yes. And some people like that. They like that interaction at face-to-face and things that they can get done at that moment. So they're there, they've taken out the time, and they want to finish their plan. So by the time they leave with you, they want their plan finished. So being able to, have a curriculum or a course that helps them every step of the way. And it could be a 6-week, it could be a 3-week program, but each week they would gain more information and leave with a plan that gets them to which the final outcome is.
Right, exactly. And once people finish their courses, what have you seen to be some of the most effective ways for people to get the word out about they have a course?
Right now, Facebook is still like number one. Facebook is really, really good as far as of getting the word out by even just being in groups and participating in groups. And not just going in and selling in groups, but going in and being very productive and providing value in groups. And people start to, notice your name, notice your information, and start to gravitate to you. Facebook ads, Instagram ads, so mostly social media outlets are a great way to get the word out about your course, but also participating in interviews, being in summits with other like-minded entrepreneurs. So there are a variety of ways. And we spoke a little bit about the list building and, building a list, giving out a freebie, and then giving out it could be a webinar or a PDF, and getting people on your email list is another great way to get the word out about your course offering.
Right, definitely. And that's extremely important that you have more than one avenue to market it, because at the end of the day, you're going to get some people that see they're going to respond to an ad on Facebook. Some people might see the post within a group on Facebook. Someone might respond because you participate in it and they tell us something. I thought, I like what you say. I want to know more. So the more avenues you have out there, the better.
Yes, absolutely. And then some people can, PR is really big. So if you're in PR, if you know someone that's in PR, they can help you get the word out, where you can do, interviews on radio stations or in news clippings. That's also great. That's always awesome,
Right. Oh, yeah, you can't beat that, because anytime you get exposure, and especially from a large audience, it's extremely beneficial.
Yes.
So now, when you put all this together, what would you say are some of those key things that, if someone's putting together a course, they absolutely must do?
So besides having that solid foundation, they absolutely must include every step. And I touched on this a little bit earlier, but every step has got to be covered. No matter how small you think it is, the other person might not know you need to cut the stove on. And just consider your course as a recipe. It provides you all the information you need, the ingredients. So in your course case, it will be the materials that you need, how to access the materials, how often that they will speak to you or they will see you is a must have. You want them to feel just as comfortable as you did when you went to class. If you stepped into a classroom when we were, K through 12, then you knew at the very beginning of the first day of school, you knew what your books were going to be. You knew, when the teacher was going to be in class. You knew when lunch was going to take place, when recess was going to take place. You knew everything that you needed to set your expectations for the classroom. And that is the most essential thing to creating a course, is setting the expectation so that everyone's on the same page and that it sets them up for success.
Right. Okay. Oh, excellent. So now, when you look at all your experience there, you shared a lot of valuable nuggets about it. If you could only pick one thing that somebody had to do in their course, so that way it would be a grand slam, it would just be a hit right out the park, what would it be?
Oh, wow. They need to make their course relatable. And they need to make the connection in their course from the content to what their need is being fulfilled. So if you can do that by telling a story at the very beginning, or if you can connect it to an old memory. For instance, I just did that by talking about, going to school in the first day of class. Just being able to make the content connect is one of the biggest things and most important thing for a course that I think just hits it out of the park. Because if you can relate to information, you can start to recall how you either learned it previously or, other prior knowledge. Again, that's making that connection with the content. And once they make that connection, you automatically want more.
Right. Definitely. Okay, great. So now how can people learn more about you and then the course that you're offering?
Okay. You can learn more about me on Facebook, my favorite, at Toni Brown. It's Toni L. Brown. And then I have a fan page, which is Toni Course Coach Brown. And so you can catch me there. I also have a Twitter and Instagram, and those handles are at Course Coach TB. It's in Toni Brown. So at Course Coach TB, I can be reached there. I have a website, which is www.createmycoursetoni.com. Again, that's www.createmycoursetoni.com. And the program that I'm getting ready to launch, Creating Your Classroom Academy, actually that is the new product that I'm putting out. And that website is creatingyourclassroom.com.
Okay.
Creatingyourclassroom.com.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to the Big Movement podcast and sharing your knowledge and wisdom on creating courses, because it's something that's really important for people to be able to do.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm so excited about, my program, what I'm here to offer. I love learning. So I love learning what my clients are teaching. So I learn all day, every day with them. And so I really do enjoy what I do. And I'm here to help all have just have a better life. And that better life could be $500 a month, or it could be $5,000 a month. But, and it may just be because you want to share your expertise, and I'm here to help you do that.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. Well, definitely. So thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.